Alright, y'all, I know I'm late, but these last few days been tragic. Nothing too serious. I'm good. It's just sometimes you gotta take care of some personal stuff that you didn't know needed all of your attention at the moment. The thing I hate the most about being late for this project is that Freddie Gibbs is one of my favorite rappers currently, so you know it took everything out of me not to listen to a single track off this. I just want to hop right into it. Freddie's run these past few years has been one of the best in hip hop from a single act, in my opinion. One of the best, not the best. One of the best with projects like Pinata, Shout of a Doubt, Bandana, Fetty with Currency. A lot of people don't talk about that project. That project was crazy. Alfredo. And with all that, it still amazes me that though he's been getting a lot of press lately for all the wrong reasons, he still seems to be floating under the radar of mainstream rap music for some reason. Now, before we start, I do want to acknowledge one thing that I need answers to while listening to this album. I need the answers to this, Freddie. I'm sorry to do this on the front end of me listening to your album. I'm sorry to do this, but you're Gangsta Gibbs. Was the barbecue worth it? I honestly need to know, cause let me tell you, I ain't never had no chicken that good for me to walk around with knots on my forehead. Come on, Gangsta Gibbs, we can't have this. We surely cannot. I'm gonna need you to clear this up. Track 1, Couldn't Be Done, featuring Kelly Price. Starting with the samples.
I'm your pussy man. They say talk your reckless on the shit might get every nigga you with us and you against us. They try to play.
Yo, it's so much shit happening with this beat.
I'm in these streets, but it's hard to touch a nigga. Get something on my saying, I'm in color, this different colors, nigga.
Oh my God. I'm not mad at that intro at all. It's definitely a little bit different than what we've been getting from Freddie on his last few projects. Of course, it has a heavy sample to it. I mean, you know, that's usually what Freddie loves to rap over, whether it's trap based or it has no drums in it. But this is reminding me a little bit of You Only Live Twice, and where it was a lot of trap infused production. And it's not as laid back. It's definitely a hard-hitting intro though, something that's going to command your attention right off the bat. I don't think it needed Kelly Price on it though for some reason. I love Kelly Price. I love you, Kelly, but I just think it really didn't need to be added. I can't tell you how much I miss Freddie's flow, man. It's just something about it that just sticks to me, man. Track 2, Blackest in the Room. What you mean by that, Freddie? You know, what you mean? You talking to somebody that got a little bit of melanin to him.
Thinking, you know what I'm saying? What nigga, where would you go? What would you do? Who would you screw? Black forces, so his brain ain't leave a stain on my shoe. Black is in the room like I'm Sam Cooke at the Fountain Blue. Black is in the room like I'm Sam Cooke.
Okay.
Gotta spit it, cause it sit on my heart. The shit I think when I look up at the stars. I went to jail, the warden put me in the hole, cause I wouldn't rap for the guard. Got the AK with the catcher, we ain't leaving no shells. Plus I'm surgical with this bitch like Training Day Denzel. Yeah, Black is in the room, cousin living flip. She been 6 since they fucked the water up. I start the drama up. Black suits and black curses, limo service picking up. Sitting on the truck, the back too big to do the me sale. Tried to kick that cup, but fucked around and I got a refill. Silly bitches, they be worried about a nigga body count steady.
Yo, this beat is crazy.
Cause detectives just lurking, they pick the workers up. Jumping up like Izzy and Juicy, I fuck these verses up. Ain't no fuck if you die, they make sure your surface up. My pistol in my pillow, I sleep amongst all the murderers, nigga.
First of all, that beat switch was immaculate. Because I like the first beat, I liked it. It was smooth and laid back. But when Freddie gets into that dark place, man, when they switch over to those menacing beats that he raps over, like he just gets in a different mode. And we all notice listening to his other projects. We notice about Freddie, man. Nobody can beat him at that. His flow and cadence on the back end of that record was just crazy. Like once the beat switched, he just went into another universe. It was over then. It was over. We wasn't gonna catch him. I wouldn't say I was necessarily expecting the beat switch up in the middle of that record, but I'm actually glad that he did that. I can see why he switched it up, because it seemed like the record would have gotten a little stagnant if the whole track had the same production throughout. So that was real smart, very smart switch up. I need to know who did that second beat. Track 3, Pain and Strife, featuring Offset. See, this is something I wasn't expecting. It's kind of funny that now he chooses to go into more of that mainstream realm of features, because Freddie never really fucked with niggas like that. We know this. But now he's starting to fuck with more people in the mainstream, which I don't know how I feel about, but we gonna see how it sounds. Is it me, or does Offset sound a little bit too artificial? Like I get it. It is Offset, but he's usually the most natural sounding one out of the Migos. Well, I don't know if the Migos is even a thing anymore. We gotta talk about that shit too. I don't know what's going on, but it needs to stop.
Finally bossed up by myself up off the label. I can't have no conversation if it ain't no pay. 20,000 square feet with 7 acres. I keep cool.
I like that. I like that track. It's definitely not one of my favorites that I've heard so far on this project, even though I'm only on the third song. But I like Offset's verse. I did wish that Freddie had a longer, lengthier verse on this song right here, just because it seemed a little bit too condensed, especially containing the subject matter he was speaking about. It seemed a little skin deep to me, because I've heard and seen Freddie tackle this subject matter in a more sentimental way, and where I feel him a little bit more. This one, it kind of just breezed by me just a little bit. You know, it didn't really bring anything out of me as far as, you know, making me feel for him or anything like that. I did like Offset's verse somewhat. I think he added a little bit more to the song than what was already there, if that makes any sense. But I do think his auto-tune kind of ruined it a little bit for me. I don't know what it was about it. It just seemed a little off in my opinion. It just seemed to have a little too much volume on it for my taste. Track 4, Zipper Bags. Oh, I like this shit already.
Get the bag, nigga post on the block, we can split the bag. I'm just serving the neighbors, they stiff a bag. All I know is yo, with them zipper bags. If I don't have me some numbers, something I don't feel right. I'm up and up in that, I know that that's what I feel like. All I know is get the bag, nigga post on the block, we can split the bag. I'm just serving the neighbors, they stiff a bag. All I know is yo, with them to the belly of the B-side go. Freddie, how you come up on the keys that low? Hit my Mexican and come up on at least 5 more. I'm about to shoot up your body, cause that's what I feel like. If I don't pull up, then I mean, I don't feel right. All I know is get the bag, nigga post on the block, we can split the bag. I just
Yeah, that's my favorite song so far. And the weird thing is that I really don't have that much to say about it or that much praise to give it, other than that I love when Freddie does that in-tone thing with his voice, and where he goes in and out of melodies and then goes right back to rapping. He does that really well, and he does it in a prolific way, and where it sounds great over a track. It just sounds good. I feel like a lot of artists try to do that, and it doesn't really come off as authentic as when Freddie does it. And the thing is, he just started adding this shit to his repertoire just a couple years ago, and I love the beat too, man. Like the beat was crazy. Track 5, Too Much, featuring Moneybagg Yo.
Yeah. Too much on me, I need that. Rocks in the nigga wrist, too much. $40 on the bed, too much. I got way too many enemies, gotta be tuned up. Nigga with the muggy diamonds, they never could fool us. But once I hit another city, then I never get deleted. Hit the pussy and the speeder, then it's pimping undefeated. Once I seen the hoe, I'm busting through the bitches overrated. 42, but nigga sip too much. I done hit another nigga, bitch, too much.
Whatever this beat is doing, I love it.
200 a verse, and 200 for a show. I need 400 a hold if I'm breaking down the boat. Why you doing all that typing? We've been trying to up the scope.
A lot of recent Moneybagg Yo verses for me hasn't really been sticking like they used to when he first came out, because it's kind of hard for me to disconnect this verse from his last one, because they all sound the same and he always comes on it the same way. The flow is just on autopilot at this point. Just in my opinion, his verses are becoming more and more disinteresting, but it's kind of crazy because it's consistent, and I like consistency, but it's a little bit too consistent in where he's saying the exact same shit. The beat crazy. The beat crazy. I'm not really mad at Freddie Gibbs at the attempt of a commercial record, because that's exactly what this is, based on the hook, based on the, you know, the formality of the verses. Maybe not Freddie's verse per se, but definitely Moneybagg Yo's verse. I'm not mad at it, but I don't want him to go this route. And I feel like when he makes a song like this, there's plenty other people I can go to for these kinds of records before I go to Freddie Gibbs. I go to Freddie Gibbs for a specific reason. Well, not necessarily a specific reason, but I go to him for, you know, something a little bit more soulful, something a little bit more grimy. It's just kind of removing him from that space for me. Like I said, it's not a bad song, but this isn't what I want from Freddie Gibbs. Not saying I want him to stay in the box, but I don't want him to, for lack of a better term, sell his musical soul, you know, for these kind of records. The production was crazy though. I like it a lot. And the thing is, I'm not, like I said, I'm not mad at him because he doesn't do this often. But that's the thing. I don't want him to make this his primary go-to. Track 6, Lobster Omelette, featuring Ricky Rose. Now listen here. These two undefeated. Ice Cream, Scotty Beam. Bro, Scotty Beam was fucking legendary. Now, just based on the title alone, I'm pretty confident in this record already. Come on, don't let me down.
My nightmares coming true, but they ain't leaving school. On the West Coast counting blues, but I'm whooping with them rules. Laughing at me at my school, so I move like I ain't got shit to lose. When I get them goons, you in the afterlife by afternoon. My chopper tuck, and I shot that bitch in the chest, man, I knocked his shoulder out of socket. Fuck a degree, I'm whipping diesel, no direct deposit. President ain't never loved a nigga, who the fuck a nigga supposed to vote for? Nigga, what? Yeah. All my lords in the pen, about to feed got a nigga now, she can still get dick. You can take away this rap shit today, throw the whole shit away, and I'm still get rich, bitch.
Really?
Niggas come to conclusion, checks can come in concurrent, shooters on the maneuver.
Whenever you take the drums out when Ross come in, you know it's over.
Pussy seeming hypnotic, I'm addicted to diamonds, such a fiend for them watches, dollar signs in my carpet, killing options, the obvious, I got bodies,
cinematic, man, just cinematic. I think Ross has worked himself into a position to where when he comes on a record, he can just talk and it just sounds good. He doesn't really have to be saying anything of that much importance conceptually to the track. He can just come on and pop shit because we all know who Ross is. We know what he's done. We know what he's gonna bring to the table. He doesn't bring back guest features. That's why Drake always goes to him. He even said it in his Rap Radar interview, is that every time I send Ross a record, he's gonna send the exact thing I want back. We don't know what that exact thing is at the moment when I'm sending him the record, but we know he's gonna fulfill that position. And that's why whenever I see featuring Ross on somebody's album that I already love, it's just gonna be cinematic because Ross is on the record, and the production on this is cinematic as well. It's like they both did their thing. I know I'm sucking Ross a lot on here, but Freddie did his thing too. Even though Ross's verse wasn't that lengthy, it still added the most of any feature on this record so far. They know how to talk they shit together so well that you can't deny it. You don't care if he was a correctional officer, and you don't care if he got beat up in the barbecue pit. Track 7, Space Rabbit. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to follow that shit up. I'm sorry.
Yo, let's get paper and pop more with hoes up in skyscrapers. It's King Rabbit, I rap it, I pull a drug caper. Space Rabbit with Space Cool, straight out of Monaco. Space King, Space Ace, pimpin', them day you ballin', them woody don't make you hate you, underrate you. That bitch won't always turn around, yo, that's the crazy thing about the Contagion.
Oh my God.
I sound like Buck, they had the rabbit man fucked up. They probably thought they cut my nuts and I was down bad on my luck. It's Biggie and kiss him, now he initiate. Sunday night to Thursday, you hit me, I get you situated. And all the fans, they know my name, my pictures in the office. They just that man is Mr. Kane until they drop the coffin. I gave him 40 bars of pain like as an iron cross.
What are you doing up there? Gang banging a rabbit, you freaky fuck?
This is exactly what I want from Freddie Gibbs. This is exactly why I love Freddie Gibbs. His ability to do this type of shit over a beat that has so many layers to it, but is also so simplistic and soulful and laid back. Like his strong gangster delivery is just, it just flows so great over these laid back track, over this laid back production. I mean, when he just goes and goes and goes to the point where you don't know where the hook starts or where the hook ends because everything is so consolidated into one format. Who produced this? I didn't know who produced this. I gotta look this one up. I'm sorry. Boy Wonder? Of course he did. Track 8, Feel No Pain, featuring Anderson .Paak and Raekwon.
Chief counselor, co-founder, my paperwork in order. Shit heavy, but I carry it with ease. Juices in the berries with a tail like a king. Nice with the bars, involved in the weave. Now we at large, whipping cars in the streets.
For some reason, it feels like Anderson .Paak doesn't fit on this. I don't know what it is, and I love Anderson .Paak, so it's kind of weird that I feel this way, but I don't know. It's just coming off like this isn't a match made in heaven for him. It doesn't seem like a marriage between him, his vocals, and the beat.
Shit heavy, but I carry it with ease. Like a high school janitor, I'm carrying them keys. Gave out credit for this dope, I'm catching. Can't go outside, I might catch Corona, hoe or holler tip. Dope in my Fanta wrist on Niagara, got a lot of
Okay, I'm feeling the hook. I'm feeling the hook now. I spoke too soon.
Stocks is high, the streets is lit. Blowing past, getting cash, driving off with some gangster shit. Fuck with us, find your neck in a stranger's twist. I might change Danny Ainge and the ball will swish. Listen to monster click, don't talk money.
When that beat catch. When the song first started, I'll admit I didn't like it like that because I don't know. It seemed like Anderson .Paak's verse. I'm not gonna say the hook because the hook, I feel like the hook was always good, but his verse that didn't really stick to the production, in my opinion. Musically, the mix on the beat started to catch more as the song went on, as the verses started to flow past. So, you know, I liked it. It's not one of my favorites still, even though I did like Raekwon's verse. Freddie's verse was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. Freddie be getting away with some bars where a lot of other motherfuckers couldn't get away with. Like a janitor, I'm carrying the keys. Okay. It's clever and corny at the same time, but it works for him. Track 9, Rabbit Vision. He really running with this rabbit shit, man. Like, what's the significance of the rabbit for him? I still don't know what it means, you know? Silly rabbit, tricks off for kids.
I sent it a mile away, but you know, I don't hate you, I love you.
Black Godfather, that's my religion. You took an oath to this family, how you gon' go against it? These niggas snitching, a lot of shit, it broke my heart, but it fixed my bitch. Use your mama pot to make them grams lie.
A lot of shit, it broke my heart, but it fixed my vision. Oh yeah, I'm writing that down. Yep.
Sometimes I feel like we so dope just to impressing it. And there's so much deep within the game, this shit be stressing it. And this rap shit bringing more enemies than friends. They out to get you talking tough on social sites. This shit get real in the streets. We had a spat, I talked to Whack, ain't need the minister to settle no beef.
And why are people talking to Whack to settle beef? He's the one that starts everything, from what I've seen. Wait, okay, I had to hear that again. Did he say he had a beef with Whack? Whack 100, if y'all don't know who the hell I'm talking about or who he's talking about. I don't remember that. I don't be on the social sites like that neither, so I'm probably out of the loop. But I don't remember Whack 100 beefing with Freddie Gibbs. I don't remember that.
Me and Jeezy still ain't spoken years, but I got love for him. Could've talked it out, but I spoke out. I let it get to me. Show me I could be your fucking boss. Best thing he did for me. I need.
Hey man, I like to see it. I like to see it. You talking to a nigga that been fucking with Freddie Gibbs since Pinata, so I heard all the shots throughout his career he's throwing at Jeezy. I don't know if he actually means it because, you know, silly rabbit tricks off for kid. Oh my God.
They can't play with me. Treated Virginia Street like 2300 Jackson Street. I rap myself about the G. Heard these niggas snitching. I prayed in my premonition miss. A lot of shit, it broke my heart, but it fixed my vision.
But that shit hit every time he say it. That song showed a lot of growth for Freddie Gibbs just as a man in general. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I like to see that. You know, everything around it musically and stuff like that, it was all great, but I think the most important part of that song was the lyrics. It wasn't really the production, even though, like I said, it was great. I just hope he really feels this way and isn't tricking people. You know what I'm saying? Because Freddie tends to do that every now and then. Track 10, PYS featuring DJ Paul. Ain't seen that name in a long time. Let's see what you got, DJ Paul. I'm pretty sure he produced it too. Oh, this job about to be crazy. I already know it is.
Pretty boy smile, nigga, breaking your hoe. 10 toes down, never call on the floor. Let them other niggas cap up, nigga, fall on the low. Whipping your slut, shooting them guts. Shooting her face, she gon' lick that shit up. Charging hoe, I'm charging low. Still get my freedom regardless, so. Working for daddy, 2 bricks in the luggage. Coke in the carry-on, back in 06, she was whipping for new rapper bottoms.
The flow!
DJ Paul, yeah, whipping in the old black Cadillac, pimps up, hoes down, nigga, 4 flat. No more, I'm a drug or choosing that goddamn gold. I'm a pimp, I'm a man, looking for the dollars, these trues and bowls, and before these models. Shit, niggas, that keep that toolkit, giving me a toolkit, a full clip. Gary niggas we be with the bullshit. A nigga never trust a free bitch. I'ma break off because the nigga bitches on my nuts and only take a couple bucks to put you niggas in the dust, and I'ma pimp your slut.
Pimp your slut? Oh my God. That shit was amazing. I don't know what else to say. DJ Paul, you a fucking legend. Everybody already knows that, but I feel like I have to reiterate that because that shit was amazing. Like, that's a hidden gem I know he probably had for years, and he gave it to Freddie Gibbs. And I love you for that because Freddie did his thing on here. I don't know why I'm talking in a monotone voice when that song just got me hype as shit. But I don't know. It just did something to me. I don't know. I'm paralyzed right now. I don't know what's going on. I'm just looking to the camera talking to y'all. That song was crazy. And I know y'all think it's crazy too. There's no way you didn't think that. Track 11, Dark Hearted. Bro, what just happened?
30-30 in my hand, the detector that got me cuffed on that MLS. Niggas stand on it with it, ain't the truth. Pussy niggas ran on me when it's time to shoot. Motherfucker friend, got them bitches on my broom. Back when bitches, they used to play with my heart then. Police might shoot me and kill me over my dark skin. Smoking this bitch, I'm the murder man. Dead nigga put his hands on me. I'ma pop another bottle and put one out for your dead homie.
I know this song is a little serious, so I can't say this, but you dare a nigga to put his hands on you. Plenty of niggas put their hands on you, Freddie. I have to say this. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but niggas did put their hands on you. They did. They surely did. And did you pour anything out for them? Any of them? I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I'm not here to snitch on nobody. I'm not here to get any more information that I already have. I'm not here to do any of that. But I just want to know, are these raps real? That's all I want to know, man. Because a nigga did put his hands on you. Niggas, I mean, with the parentheses, you know, around the S. Whoa. Oh. I am noticing in this album that Freddie is getting a little more semi-vulnerable than he usually does on his projects. I mean, he always dives back into his past and, you know, what he did on the drug game and, you know, the homies he's lost along the way. But I don't know, it just seems like he's digging deeper into those stories on this project. You know, on certain songs, I mean, because, I mean, he's having fun with a lot of songs, but he's also giving you an introspective side into, you know, his dark heart. So, yeah, that's definitely something I've been noticing throughout this whole track list so far, is that, you know, he's not really afraid to tap into that softer side of himself, even though he still has that hard exterior that he's exuding on these records right now. I like that song, even though it kind of gave me the same vibe of a Rabbit Vision. I think if this one came before Rabbit Vision, I probably would have liked it a little bit more. Track 12, Gold Rings, featuring Pusha T. I'm not saying anybody need to look at my Twitter or anything, but when Freddie Gibbs first announced this album, I said Pusha T needs to be on here because of what he did on Bandana. I think he gave Freddie Gibbs the best feature verse of his whole career on Palm Olive. I think that, and, you know, anybody willing to argue me on that, you know, just put it down in the comments.
Feel that? Feel my damn nigga.
Feel what? I don't feel anything yet. It didn't start yet.
Yeah, no gold rings and shit, just my main squeeze. My down ass bitch, the one that never fuck up a snitch. I beat the scene, I hit and run, I left the block with the switch. Rock into the cops, come knocking at my college. Damn bitch, thought we was gang, I would've killed for it. Ex nigga got you engaged, that nigga knew for it. Steady dropping to the cops, come knocking at my came with it hard, that's a hard sale. Bet I won't pay them bitches back, I play my cards with the cartel.
That's perfect.
All ends I done made, waitresses I done saved. The blow drop off for bitches who ain't learn to braid. All the rent I paid, you know I play it fair. Just leave an extra key so I can weigh it there. Dope game, I'm the ultimate creative player. 2K21, Savage Jury Supreme Team. Anchors is done and hung. The dope floats on the boat. Now come give the drummer some. They the king of the kilo. I don't believe none of them.
Tattoos and some wolf.
Except Gibbs.
I wanted a longer verse. You know, I always gotta start with the negative, man. Pusha T, I wanted a longer verse. And that's just that. I wanted a longer verse. The verse was great. You know, I'm not gonna say great because I wanted it to be longer. I'm not gonna give you that credit because next time you need to give me what I want. I feel like the production on this track was just perfect for both of these gentlemen, man. I really just called them gentlemen. That's crazy. I don't know what woman Freddie Gibbs was talking about at the beginning of this track. He put the Range Rover in your name, then gave it to you, and didn't pay it. Is that what he did? Is that what he's saying he did? Because that's King Petty if he did that. Like, I gotta steal that, even though I don't got Range Rover money. If I did have Range Rover money, now I know what to do with it. That's one of my favorite tracks, too. I think anytime these two come together, it's just like Ross and Freddie, man. It's just, he knows how to pick his features very well. Track 13, Grandma Stove, featuring Music Soul Child.
Yeah, I smoke a blunt to take the pain out. And if I wasn't high, I'd probably try to blow my brains out. I'm at Grandmama's stove, I drain the potters. And I can write my raps because my tears might flood the page out. And we've been on the road for like 10 years, keeping 20 blicks in a Sprinter van. Shows was hella empty, but fuck it, I got my niggas in. You could've fixed shit between us, but I can fight my demons. I never knew shit would lead us to child support subpoenas. Raven was a vacuum. She scratched the Benzie and I dropped the charges. That hoe know she never had my heart, so she attacked my pockets. Gotta watch how you rockin'.
That ball got ruined for me. That got ruined for me because it was all over Twitter. Freddie Gibbs, this his baby mom, and this and that. I don't care. I don't care. It has nothing to do with me. I probably wouldn't have caught that line if it wasn't for the internet doing what they do. You know, I wouldn't have caught it because I don't know his baby mother's name. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know it, but now I do. Now I see why she got mad because now I know her name. And now I know she keyed his car.
Nigga white beat you cases, that was a God blessing. He rich enough to leave the streets, but he too hard-headed. I bought a house out in Cali, I made it out for real. Pop Smoke killed in the hills, that shit gave me the chills. Willie was my day one, need to slow my roll, cause my daddy battling stomach cancer. Trying to chase my dream, but I hate the shit that I'm running after. Had some deadly beef with some rappers, but that's another chapter.
Another, if you want to call it a heartfelt record, you know, it doesn't really sound like that heartfelt because it's Freddie Gibbs and he always comes off a little strong in his delivery. But this is the only album where I can say you can actually pierce through that hard exterior and get to a more personable Freddie Gibbs and actually see him as a person and not just a character of himself as a rapper. I feel like that's the highest praise I can give him on this project so far, is that, you know, he's opened himself up to us in ways he's never done before. Track 14, CIA. The production on here is fucking amazing.
I did this album on pages, ripped out my diary. Confessions and hard lessons, killers confide in me. I hear the deuce around Deuce, the enemy go slide.
There it is.
Back, you can't never YK Osiris me. Did it all in torches.
Why you do that to him? You really didn't have to do that. Yeah, I wonder how YK Osiris feel about that.
Just hit a lick and serve to win a slip.
Those horns, bro, horns.
Deal except for Kane. Ashamed cause I still sell crack and I'm in the rap game. Afraid cause I still sell crack.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Cane train smoking. Remember them nights when I was broke? I cried on Erica's shoulder and now my tears frozen.
I know who Erica is. That's Eric Dickerson's daughter, right? I was nosy when I was younger. And like I said, I've been a Freddie Gibbs fan, you know, ever since 2013. So I was pretty young then. And I wanted to know who his baby mom was. He was shitting on all these albums. And that's her. You know, Eric Dickerson. You remember the running back for the Rams, the legendary running back? That's his baby mom's. I'm pretty sure y'all know that, but if y'all don't, I'm happy to be the person to give y'all that information.
Yeah, they gave us crack, Instagram, and
Man, at least somebody know, man. That Instagram shit was created by straight feds. They know the human race is stupid. They know we gonna post shit that we did that's illegal. They know we gonna do that. So why not just give us a platform to do this shit? You know what I'm saying? That's why I stay far away. Not saying I do anything illegal because I don't. I just want people to understand, like, the internet isn't your friend. These people on the internet aren't your friend because they'll snitch on you before anybody. They're sending feds a picture just to be a part of the case. And I know I'm talking on the internet right now, which is kind of weird. So let me shut up. End of the line, track 15, Decoded, featuring Scarface, The Legend. It's something that just crept into my head right now. I feel like if Grandma Store was the outro, I wouldn't be mad. I feel like that would be the perfect ending to this album.
Chicken wet, triple threat, devil in the flesh, walking in triple S, Time I got a Texas back, I can trap out the Grand Am. Cooking dope to Gregory and Luther, that was a nigga jam. Bitch ain't nothing better than love, go get it from your man. Coleon Casino, Freddie Tarantino. They do me like Benny Blanco, then I go smoke Carlito. In Vegas, I saw the kilo.
Cause the sale ain't an option, the streets ain't the only people watching. Bands on my line, every phone call popping.
That outro was alright. It wasn't one of my favorites on this album at all. It's probably one of my least favorites, honestly. I like that he did get Scarface to do a little bit of spoken. It wasn't necessarily a verse. It was just a little bit of spoken word he did on here. It seems like he just wanted Scarface to be on the project physically. I thought it was pretty cool. It seems like it's something that he really wanted to happen. So I'm not mad at that. But I would say ending this album with this track didn't really do the album justice, I will say. Even though it says bonus track, I think it does say bonus track, but I mean, it's not a bonus track because it's the last song. You know, we know it's the last song. It's the last song. All right, that's Freddie Gibbs. So separately, how do I feel about it? First, I want to start off with the content, and I think conceptual wise, I think this was an album where, you know, I think it coincides with the title and where he's talking about things more closer to home than he usually does. This is definitely the most personable album from Freddie Gibbs that we've gotten since You Only Live Twice, I would say. Although Alfredo and the Pinatas and the Bandanas was personable in their own way, and where he was talking about certain situations he's gone through in the rap game, he didn't really touch on, you know, his past as far as relationships, his past as far as just going in depth about what really shaped him as an overall person, as an overall man. And I think he got that concept across a great deal on this project, and I think he did it in a successful way. I think a bulk of the content in these records was meant to be very personable, because just knowing him as a rapper, you know, he didn't really seem too interested in tapping into that side of himself. He was always creating this picture of a gangster persona that he wanted to portray to us, and not really show us the real side of him. So I am proud that he actually went to lengths to be able to give us a project like this, because in this stage of his career, he didn't have to give us this. Like I said, it was great that he gave us this, but he didn't really need to give us a project like this, because like I said, he's built his whole rap career off this persona that, you know, he portrays online, and, you know, especially on records. Looking at the track list on here, it doesn't seem like there was too many quote unquote misses on this project. I think he went a little bit too far as trying to create these mainstream records with an Offset or Moneybagg Yo, and it's not really those names that threw me off. It's more the how those songs were built and what he did with those records. I feel like he could have brought them into his world instead of trying to step in this huge puddle of mainstream rap. The second half of this project was the standout for me. You know, everything from, what was it, Lobster Omelette all the way to Grandma Stove. Everything was perfect outside of Feel No Pain. I mean, and it's not me calling that a bad track. It just seemed like it was kind of filler in my opinion. Overall though, the production on here is immaculate, and that's something I was expecting from Freddie Gibbs, and that's something I always give him props for being able to do, and that's being able to pick great beats. He knows the production he's good at rapping over. He knows what he sounds great over, and you know, that's why it's not really a surprise to me that the production on here is amazing. Is that DJ Paul shit was crazy. Even the more softer, laid back tracks gave me chills, like Zipper Bags, Rabbit Vision, Space Rabbit, Lobster Omelette. All those were like laid back, chill production style beats, but they still ran chills down my spine because he was rapping so effortlessly over them. I think him working immensely with producers like Madlib, The Alchemist, you know, legendary producers that knows Freddie's sound. You know, I feel like he got a lot from them as far as what he sounds great over. The features on here were great as well. That's another thing that Freddie is so good at pinpointing for his records. He knows who he collaborates well with, greatly with, I might add. And it seems like it's coming towards being the same people that he always collaborates with, a Pusha T, a Rick Ross, a Anderson .Paak. Like, it seemed like it's becoming a revolving door of the same people he likes collaborating with. And I don't really mind it coming from him, because he always creates different atmospheres with these different artists, except Rick Ross. He stays in the same lane with Rick Ross. Ricky Rose, he stays in the same lane, but it works every time. You know, I don't know where this ranks as far as his projects. You know, obviously I gotta listen a little bit more, because this was just a first listen, but I already have it ahead of Shadow of a Doubt. I already have it ahead of Freddie, you know, with Kenny Beats. I kind of hated that project, I'm not gonna lie to you. The only gripes I do have with it is that it did come off a little safe in my opinion, not content wise, just, you know, just the overall project. We really didn't get anything outside of what we didn't get from Freddie Gibbs a few years ago, or over these past 2 years, as far as, you know, production and things like that. Even though he picks great beats, it doesn't seem like he's going outside of the box of what we like from him. Like I said, it is a gripe in my opinion, because I want him to, you know, expand as an artist, but, you know, it seems like he's just comfortable where he is. And, you know, if he's not mad at it, I'm not mad at it, because if you keep delivering great albums. But yeah, y'all, that's Freddie Gibbs, So Separately. Let me know how y'all feel about the album in the comments. You already know I'm gonna be there right with y'all. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm so sorry I came with this late. I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna be late on albums again, because I didn't even feel right recording this shit because it was so late. I'm saying, I was about to say fuck it, but at the end of my last video, I said I was gonna do it, so I couldn't say fuck it, because I gotta uphold some promises in my life. It's Snoopy. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Be gone. I'm gonna see y'all in the next video.